This is about a very interesting topic once again, building new age brands with omni-channel consumer. So, to talk about it in length and breadth and detail, I'd like to call a few lovely people on this lovely stage. It's going to be moderated by Mr. Prakash Sankaranarayanan, co-founder and CMO, The Idea Factory. Mr. Prakash, please. And the panelists are Mr. Jahabar Sadique, co-founder and CEO, Chai Kings. Mr. Mathew Joseph, COO and co-founder of FreshToHome. Mr. Pravin Menon, CMO, Veranda Learning Solutions. And Mr. Vikas Bysani, founder of and on. And this is going to be the last panel discussion of the day. All of you will get charged up. So we'll see that mind-opening sessions there, more than mind-blowing.
Okay, I just wanted to know that whether you listened to that last line he said, the MC was saying. It's going to be the last session. I think that's the most interesting part. Right? So here I have Pravin Menon, who is the CMO of Veranda Learning. Vikas Bysani, he's the founder of Off and On, right? Mr. Mathew Joseph, COO of FreshToHome, and Jahabar Sadique, Mr. Sadique, Chai Kings, right? This is a very interesting panel. In fact, we were discussing, and then one of the things what I've been seeing is there is no similarity between the panel because two of them are from the food business and one of them is in the kitchen appliances, the other one is entirely from the education business. So instead of me introducing about the brand and then setting the context, I want them to introduce about themselves as well. Close up. Okay. And set the context so that now we can start the discussions rolling. So we will start with Mr. Mathew. So we'll talk about your brand. You'll talk about your brand. How you started. This is basically a small brand overview, how it started, when do you start, what is it your service is about?
I think someone has heard about FreshToHome. We are #1 online fresh market in India and UAE. Actually, FreshToHome started in 2012. That name was C2Home. That I was alone in Kerala. We started the C2Home. C2Home was India's first online fish market and the world's first online fresh fish market. And 2015, I joined with my partners, my CEO Shan Kadavil and all teams, 7 co-founders. We started FreshToHome in 2015. C2Home was a deal with only fish, and after we joined the company, then we started meat and all. Then we changed the name C2Home to FreshToHome. Now we have 2.3 million registered customers in India, and we have 2 platforms. One is FreshToHome, another one is FTH Daily. FTH Daily is dealing milk and milk products, vegetables, fruits and groceries, all things. So the 2 platforms together, around 17,000 people is working in India. And we have a factory in Dubai also. And we are planning to expand Saudi Arabia and other countries also. So that is now, and we are a venture capital funded company. Google Ventures, Microsoft, Facebook, the CFO and CEO invested in our company. And an American Development Finance Corporation is invested in FreshToHome. In the first time in India, they are invested in stocks, shares. And Dubai government and Abu Dhabi government also invested. Our product is around 60% is seafoods and the 40% is chicken, mutton and other products. The last year turnover was 1,100 crore. And actually 2012 we started with seafood alone. because that was my passion. I am born and brought up in Kerala, one typical village, Pallipuram it's called, from Alippi district. I am in the bank of Kaidapura Kail, it's a famous backwater in Kerala. So fish is my passion, that's why I am starting this fish business in online. You can call me very proudly a fisherman or a fishmonger, no doubt. And, but you don't underestimate the fisherman or fishmonger. My next 2 year, my brand ambassador is Ranveer Singh. So only the things what we put, when we started in 2012 in the online fish market, the fishmonger in India is without any glamour stage. But even that field also has making some changes. So that is, I am proud myself I am proud because that we can prove it, that I can prove it, that's the thing. That's about the COO and FreshToHome.
Thank you. One of the interesting aspects that what I'd find about the entire panel is Mr. Mathew, who has founded this panel has people, brands which have started in, though it is a new age brand, technically, it started in 2015 or 2012 rather, and a brand which has started as recently as about less than a year, right? This is a lot of interesting, combo in terms of, insights about how to reach out to a new age customer, omni-channel consumer. And other than, I think, Mr. Mathew, the other three brands are practically from Chennai. So that is a big thing as far as Chennai startup ecosystem is concerned. And Mr. Sadique, all of us had, would have seen Chai Kings, would have consumed products in Chai Kings. And he has started this product, he has started this chain sometime around 2016. 16, right?
So I'm Sadique, I run the brand Chai Kings in Chennai. Like you said, we started in 2016. What started as two friends is search for a good chai. I think it ended up in Chai Kings. We were into multiple things before that. I think somewhere our passion, our interest, and our like, all of that culminated into Chai Kings, and we've been running it for about last 6 years now. We are predominantly in Chennai. You should have seen a lot of our stores wherever you've traveled in Chennai. We have about 49 stores in Chennai. Rest are in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Coimbatore. Coimbatore and Hyderabad, we started sometime in, just before COVID is when we started in Coimbatore and Hyderabad. So after that, we haven't explored much into Coimbatore and Hyderabad, but we have expanded in Chennai and about 49 here. In terms of a product, as the name suggests, we sell chai, more of chai, very little coffee. And then there are a lot of other snacks and milkshakes and mojitos and all of that. That's about the product. That's about it, yeah.
Right. Thank you, Sadique. The next speaker is going to be Vikas. Like he himself has keep saying that he is off and on a retailer, right? So that's one of the reasons why he has named his company. So Vikas, about your company and what kind of service that you provide.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vikas. I'm the founder of Off and On, and we specialize in premium kitchen appliances. And I belong to the Vivek's family, which is known for consumer durables and electronics. We've been selling electronics for approximately 60 years. I started Off and On approximately 3 months back. And during COVID, we saw a huge spike in the interest of premium kitchen appliances. A lot of people started spending time at home and in the kitchen, and they wanted to make a lot of yummy food for their family and for themselves, of course, nutritious and healthy. And once they started realizing how important the kitchen space really is, the appetite for premium kitchen appliances started increasing, and there was no credible seller in Tamil Nadu. So what was happening is when it comes to premium kitchen appliances, people used to either bring it from abroad or they buy it from the unorganized market. So there was no one to streamline in terms of providing credibility, warranty, and service. And hence Off and On was born. So whatever you buy from me, you can turn off and on. And we'll be opening up stores next year, and hence offline and online. And since we're a young brand, we'd love all the support that you could give us. And that's about it.
Thanks, Vikas. The next speaker is Pravin. Practically, this is a brand which has already gone, though it is a pretty young, new age brand, but this brand is already listed for the last 6 months now, right? 6 months now. Why don't you talk about your brand?
Good evening. My name is Pravin and I represent Veranda Learning. Quick background on what Veranda Learning is into. We are an education company. Veranda Learning is part of the Kalpati Group, the AGS Group, which has entertainment. It also is into investments, multiple investments. They're a VC basically, and we also are into renewable energy. Coming to Veranda Learning, we started in the end of 2018, 2019. We went public this year. One of the best selling or best performing stocks in the market as of now. After Adani, Wilmer, and one more brand, we are the top three. We're in the top three in the stock market. We have 4 verticals. So our company, Veranda Learning, is the education platform within which we have 4 verticals, which is into competitive exams like your banking, insurance, railways. So we have a brand called Veranda Race, which actually acquired a company called Chennai Race, which was acquired by Veranda Race. We have in the software business a company we acquired from Bangalore called Edureka, which is into upskilling, and we have now expanded that into the offline business. So it's called Edureka Learning Center. We have currently about 150 centers across India. Tamil Nadu alone has about 30 centers as I speak. We'll expand that. We have Veranda CA. Now, we acquired JK Shah a couple of weeks back, which is a Bombay-based company, which is one of the top players in the CA exams. So we have these 4 verticals as of now. We are both an offline as well as an online education company. Our business is predominantly in the offline business. We strongly believe in result-oriented courses at a very affordable cost, and we use technology to spread it across India. So that's the brand promise that we have, that we will get into programs which will give results to people. So if you just look at the results, Veranda Race, about 60-65% in Tamil Nadu, students who come to us get placed in government exams. If you look at JK Shah, the top 10 All India ranking, 6 to 7 of them are from JK Shah students. If you look at Edureka, our placements have been brilliant. Edureka Learning Center has just started. Our first batch is coming out this month. We already started placements with one of the top companies in the IT industry. So we are very, very result-oriented, but at the same time, we keep it very affordable. That's something is very key to our success. And that's why we see also people coming to us, because we do produce results. Going forward, we will venture into other verticals, and you will hear some good news coming up sometime next month. We should come into a new vertical, new regions. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing for the last 1 year now.
Yeah, thanks, Pravin. Thanks. What I want to understand, sir, we'll start with you. The pandemic years, right? I'm sure that food business, the business that you've been operating, between you two, right, your business would have suffered to some extent, and then your business would have picked up really, in terms of growth. So how did you reach out to your consumers? What kind of strategies? What level of your uniqueness that you're actually bringing to the table?
In the pandemic?
Yeah. Both during pandemic and post-pandemic. Yeah.
Actually, pandemic is a very bad thing for us, but FreshToHome pandemic is a very good time. We have a growth in India around 40%, and we have growth in UAE 80%. In pandemic, before pandemic, we are acquiring the customers. We are spending around nearly 400 to 500 rupees per customer. We are spending for marketing. But in the pandemic, without any spending, because even now, the Indian seafood market is a very big market. It is around $75 to $80 billion market. It's more than Hollywood market. In that market, only 3%, that means 97% even now in the unorganized sector. Only 3% is in the organized sector. That is including online companies and supermarkets. So very big portion is there to grow. The pandemic situations, some that 97% is coming to the online. Even now, around 96 to 97% is even now in the unorganized sector is there. Our customer is going for that type of business. And they are buying from the material from that unorganized sector. So this pandemic has helped us. Some people, that customer is not up to the time, they are not touching the online buying or online payments. But forcefully, they are trying to buy the material from the online because they have no other choices. That's why. So automatically, not only FreshToHome, other online companies also growing, especially the food sector. In UAE, what is happening in UAE is all people's depending on supermarkets. All supermarkets closed down. So they have no other choices. So the customer is coming to online platforms, automatically coming. They have no choice, that's why. So pandemic situation, when started the pandemic, first closed down in the India, first 2-3 days, very down in our sales. In that time, around our 35% of people's doing online payments. The first 2-3 days, our order is coming down. The same time, our delivery boy's charge is also coming down. So we asking them, why you are not presenting? All are afraid about this. One customer, I am going to a customer house. What is the situation there? We have no idea. The customer also is the same report. Your delivery boy is coming to here. We have no idea about. They are going to any other COVID house or something. We have no idea. That's why they are all are afraid. So then we introduce a new scheme that is contactless delivery. That contactless delivery, that is affected very good result for us. That is not only in the pandemic, in our, when we cancel our notes, no? 500,000 notes. That time also. That time during that time our FreshToHome 65% is people, customer is using online payment, not the cash on delivery payments. So that time also we are giving a new scheme that is today the debt, tomorrow the credit. You can buy the product without any cash. When you get the cash, you can come back. So before that time, our registered customers number was 3,30,000. After the 1 month, our customer number is going up 6,50,000. That is also another pandemic in our India, but that is also help us. So any pandemic situation have a chance there. We want to identify. Then we can survive. No issue.
Right. Mr. Sadique, how was your experience in terms of pandemic? And I mean, did it change your product portfolio? You have to change your strategy or anything like that?
The pandemic did not, meaning it was a big disaster for us, meaning it was very good for brands like FreshToHome, but for a retail brand like us, retail food brand like us, I think we crashed right there. March end, we just crashed there. Our priority at that point was not marketing and branding. Our priority was at that point to keep the brand alive, to keep the stores open, to keep the employees coming back, to keep the employees healthy and all of that. We did not even think about how to brand it and sell more at that point. But once if things were sorted on that front, I think our communication at that point was more towards letting customers know that we are open and alive, right? We need to tell them, meaning in the search for food and other items during the pandemic, we wanted to tell the customer that we are also alive and open and they can drop in and order. Our customers are like pre-pandemic, it was 50-50. 50% comes from Swiggy, Zomato, Uber and all of that, and 50% of the customers used to walk into the store. During the pandemic, I think it was about 95% was online and 5% was offline when it started. And the number eventually changed, but then at that point, it was more customers were looking at Swiggy and Zomato, and our struggle was to keep the app alive and open, always alive, and let the customers know that we are there. I don't think customers were initially searching for a chai during the pandemic. The more search was towards the food and other items, but slowly we had to keep us on top, tell the customer that we are alive, and order from there. That's on the online front. On the offline front, our struggle was with the corporation and the police and authorities like that to keep the store open during pandemic. So once we did that, and we had to continuously do that, we cannot open today and close the next day. We had to keep the store consistently open. Either we open it or we keep it closed across. So we did that. We tried to do that. We tried to reason out with the authorities and tell them that we had to open the store. We can continuously open the store. We are also coming under the restaurant category, not the tea shop category and all of that. And did that. That was during the pandemic. And once the pandemic's over and during normal time, our reach out to customers is mostly, there's a little bit of offline guerrilla marketing that happens whenever there's a new store of that happens. But consistent reach out happens through the social media platform. Our customer segments are slightly different. There is a set of target audience for us on the LinkedIn, which is the business users, companies where you get bulk orders, catering opportunities and all of that. So there's a separate target-oriented ad that happens on the LinkedIn platform, more of an engagement side. And then there is engagement happening on those Facebook and the Instagram platforms. More than looking at a return of investment on the spend that we do on Instagram, we look at more on the engagement that we can gather on the social media profile, what kind of customers are talking to us, what kind of customers comes back to us when there is an engagement and all of that. That helps us profile the customers, do targeted ads, targeted offers, targeted products and all of that. So that's how we do, yeah.
Okay. So from what I get from both of them is, I think for him, online presence is almost like 95%. I mean, online business is 95%. In your case, it's about 50-50. So Pravin, what is your experience? I mean, your post-pandemic brand, technically, what is your experience in terms of this online, offline? But education had a major impact, schools were closed down, most of the new age brands started delivering online classes, right? What is your experience?
So we came in at the right time, actually speaking. 2018 and 19 was when the Kalpatis were actually planning to come back into education. They have a background. They were the founders of SSI. They bought Aptech. So they had that education background any which way. And they were studying the online business and they wanting to get into online education plus the offline. And they always kept online as a supplement to the offline business. So when we started 2019, we were already invested into Chennai Race. He was one of the consultants or advisors to Chennai Race. And we're preparing them for an online business. By the time, content was getting prepared actually. Right. Offline was on. By the time the pandemic hit and the shutdown happened, we were ready with the online content. So students could just switch to the online platform. And they didn't have, there was a little bit of a glitch, but most of them moved on to the online platform. We had recordings ready for the program. We had video live lectures, which was already planned and kept. We had studios in place. So our business started going on the online route. And at that time, we had only Veranda Race as a brand. By the time we were finishing with the pandemic, we were acquiring Edureka, which has predominantly been in the online space. For the last 10 years, they've been number one player in the upskilling of software engineers in the online space. So that just continued. Today, we see a dip in the online learning part of it. It's more supplementary. They don't buy the full course like what they used to buy in the pandemic period. They buy supplementary courses. So we have multiple packages there. So we see a consistent, it used to go pretty rocket speed in online sales. Now it dipped a little bit, but it is now consistent. Right. So we get a good revenue from the online business. Offline has picked up very well for us. We've expanded markets. We've gone into new markets with Veranda Race itself. We're venturing into another 2 states now as I speak. So next month we'll have those 2 launches happening. And we expanded Edureka completely into the offline space, right? Like I said, we have 150 centers coming up across India, right? From Jammu to Nagarkoil is already lined. So all these centers are coming up. So for us, that's been a great learning. We understood how the consumption of education as a content on the online platform happening, and we leverage that as our strength, and we complement that. We've now launched the higher ed program under Edureka and Veranda. So that is for the executive MBA programs and all that stuff. So that's online. That's not offline. Right. And we know that consumers are there for it. So we target them for the online space. The offline, which is more result oriented. So those who come to us for offline, we also upsell the online products. Because there are some test series and videos that we can upsell to them. So it kind of complements the offline business that we run. So yeah, the pandemic did teach us a lot. We learned a lot from our competition. So we used many of that in our learnings, in our journey that we see now. And that's continuing. So we will be online plus offline. And that's the route we will go.
Pravin, what I find very interesting about this brand, I mean, Veranda Learning, it has acquired a lot of legacy brands. Yeah. And then these brands technically, you reach out to different consumer segments. Every brand has, other than probably getting into school education, I think you are into every level of education, up to right up to, I mean,
of course,
career enhancement, right, everything. So how do you handle the consumer expectations? What are the challenges?
So for us, every brand is different. I mean, as you said, for us, for each brand, the consumer is very different. The behavior is very different. The background is very different. The kind of educational backgrounds that they have is also very different. So we treat each brand or a vertical separate. So we study those consumers and then try to target them or to be engaged with them. So for each brand, for example, for Race, we use a lot of regional publications to channels. We do regional digital, right? But when we look at CA or an Edureka, it's completely English, right? And it talks to a very different set of audience. So even in terms of activation, we do it in similar style. For Edureka, we do, Learning Center, we do engineering colleges. Right. It's an arts and science government colleges as far as Race is concerned. Okay. For CA, it is a completely different TG. Okay. So, yeah, like you said, for each vertical, we'll have to speak to different audiences. We do a lot of study with our students itself because we have a very good captive audience. Edureka does about 1 lakh of students per year. Race does only in Tamil Nadu about 30,000 students in the offline space. So we have a good audience base. We study a lot with them. We do a lot of dipstick with them. So understand patterns, understand what they consume. And then we kind of replicate that, amplify that. Okay. That's what we've been doing. And we have a great agency like Wavemaker working with us who gives us a lot of insights. Okay. So that helps. So that helps us in targeting. Okay. When we go into different markets, how do I target? So that helps. Okay. Right.
Sadique, I want to come back to you. In terms, he was talking about expansion and then reaching out, handling multiple brands. So what are your expansion plans technically? I think now that market has really started picking up, right? You also said there are 2 different segments. It's technically office segment and a consumer who is walking in. I mean, your online segment, both office and residential?
So, like I said, our revenue comes from both offline and online streams. But again, even if you split further into the offline and online, I think we have multiple formats to target different type of customers. We have retail, predominantly retail. About 50% of our stores are retail format, but then the rest 50% are of malls, IT parks, metros, colleges, and hospitals, which are like captive centers. You get a certain amount of audience on a daily basis consistently. That happens on the 50% of the revenue that we get. So since the pandemic, we have not went beyond Chennai. Just before pandemic, we went to Coimbatore and Hyderabad. We did about 4 stores each, and we had to stop expansions there and come back here. We have not closed down shops in Coimbatore and Hyderabad. We took a bit of a hit there because of pandemic, and we were a lesser known brand there. It took a lot of time for us to establish and do a Chennai kind of a sale there. But having been there for about 2 years now and 4 stores each, both the cities are ripe for expansion for us.
Okay.
So our immediate expansion plan is to do another 4 or 5 stores in Coimbatore, and the rest of the expansion would happen in Hyderabad and Bangalore. In the last 2 months, we did 2 stores in Bangalore as well, and just to try if the product works and if there is any changes that we need to do to the snacks category and the food category. We have sorted that out. I think we are in for expansion in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Yeah. We will mostly go with a retail store up front. That's how we target a new city. We do stores in the center of the city, and we do cloud kitchens on the outer part of the city, and then capitalize on the captive markets like colleges, IT parks, metros, and all of that. Right. Yeah. They are a little difficult to get to. If you're a lesser known brand, it is very difficult to get a IT park or a college or a hospital. So you get to start retail stores, and then once you get market share there, you go ahead and capture the...
Right. In some of the markets which are probably you're exploring, where you're not present, do you plan to be an D2C brand? I mean, some places like Bombay, Delhi, you don't really need to open up a store, but you can still leverage your legacy here.
We've tried that as well. See, wherever there is no retail store, where there is no physical presence, where the customer cannot see the store and could have felt the brand or felt the product, the adoption rate on the online front is very, very less. Meaning that's what we tried in Bangalore as well. Any city, any new city, when the brand is not known, and if you only have a cloud kitchen or a kitchen, the adoption rate is very, very less, and meaning it's very slow. You don't burn much, you don't because it's a small kitchen, and you're not going to lose much money on that front. But then it takes a lot of time to come to a stable state and do. So it's always a good idea to go with a mix of both retail store and an offline store, so the online store, so that customers, if they go to their work or go to the college, they can see the store. On the way back home, they see the brand and order online. So that's how it works better. Otherwise, if you go with one format, the adoption rate is very slow, and it takes longer time.
So you will prefer to do a hybrid model.
Yeah, right.
Right. Because coming to you, so how do you define one of the things what I want to ask you is, who's your consumer? So how do you see your consumer? How do you reach out to your consumer, right? And what kind of servicing, and what is your geographical area? I know this is just about 3-4 months. We have discussed a couple of plans, but I just want to understand it for the larger audience.
So my customer, my demographic is primarily a cooking enthusiast, somebody who spends a lot of time at home and the kitchen. Since it's in the premium space, it's usually Henrys and HNIs. Henrys are high earning but not yet rich. They're mostly time-poor people who rely heavily on quality and the final output in a product, right? And when it comes to appliances, there's a sudden increase in the demographic of people who don't mind spending more, and they're getting frustrated with the common product. So I chose to go online first more than retail, because I wanted distribution over the brand and the service in terms of what we do. I didn't want to look at revenue as an outlier, because these are high consideration products, right? These are things that you want to touch and feel. These are things that you wanted to see turned on. But I wanted people to ask what is off and on, what is it that they do. So I wanted distribution of brand and distribution of what we do. So I started launching online. As we've been exploring more go-to-market strategies and exploring various channels to advertise, as a young brand with a small team, we wanted to make the most use of our efforts, right? We didn't have like a varied approach. So we're approaching Google very, very aggressively, Google Ads, because all these products primarily are intent-based. Somebody's hungry, then they look for food. So somebody, if they're looking for an air fryer, then off and on might come. If they're looking for a stand mixer, then off and on might come. And we're approaching there primarily first. Word of mouth has actually worked out tremendously well because one thing is brands that are new, people are curious to understand what they do. And since we're in our early stages, we're able to serve the customer 100%, not even 100%, probably 120%, leaving them very delighted. So they're able to refer within their circle, their community, their apartments, and everything, and it's been quite phenomenal. And Google has also started increasing our site traffic very well. A huge amount of what my website plays is the role of discovery and the role of research that the customer does. Because once the customers has acknowledged themselves as a premium customer, they come into my website looking for a certain category, but then they'll say, what is this? Why don't I have it? What does it do? And they move on to the other. And when they want to play the role of touch and feel, we're already providing at-home demos within the Chennai level. And I'm happy to say that 8 to 10 or 9 out of 10 are converting because they're a hot lead. This is for somebody who's looking for my product, and the moment they realize it works great, it works fantastic, they're happy with the service, they convert really, really well.
But in your case, your product line particularly is not going to be, unlike these two, it's not very impulsive, right? Your product has a very high involvement. Probably it is going to take a lot more time for people to consider, to get into the considerations, or probably it is already there, and it is taking time for them to give. How much of this is a challenge, or how much of this is an advantage for you?
So this is
and to what extent, let me finish the question, to what extent your background from the family is helping you?
Vivek's is ultimately my DNA, and I've been serving the customers since I was probably 14 to 16 years old. Right. My parents are actually here, so it's definitely thanks to them that I'm able to understand that the customer definitely comes first. You should start a brand with the customer in mind, not a business model in mind or branding or anything else. That comes secondary. You have to know who your customer is directly. I've been serving the customer since I was 16 years old. I've sold everything. I've sold cell phones, I've sold TVs, I've sold washing machines. I've done corporate. I've stood at the store. We've done exhibitions. I've done all of that. In my business, it's more service related. Within the premium space, they're not very price sensitive. They're very service sensitive. They want to know that we'll be there to pick up the call later. Right. Since the ticket size is high, the consideration time for the product as well as me as a vendor is quite high. Right. What the challenge is in the beginning before conversion is the fruit after the conversion, right? The fruit after the conversion is they become a sort of endorser of the brand and the product later on, because since the product is already premium, it speaks for itself in terms of the output, the reliability, the service that comes in. Most of the SOPs and manuals are done to an immaculate level, which is, there's nothing to a fault. Right. I think our present challenge right now would definitely be awareness, because most of the people who I tell them what we do, they say, why haven't I heard of it? So I'm working on it. And, a platform such as Medias for You has put me up here. So my definite, wishes and thanks. We have a lot to cover. Right. But what we've done so far has given me incredible confidence in the market. Right. And
Okay. I just want to, he brought up a very interesting point in terms of, consumer awareness. So I want to ask all of you in terms of, to what kind of media plans that you follow, what kind of media investments, what kind of brand engagements, and what is the kind of split between, traditional media, new age media, digital media, what kind of, I think we'll start with Pravin.
So like I said, we have multiple verticals, so each vertical behaves very differently. So if I look at Veranda Race, we use more of print, that's more to build the trust. We use TV for reach. We use digital to be present with the audience because that's where they are also. So we reach out through them to generate leads and stuff like that. When you look at Edureka, it's purely online. We don't do, saying Edureka, the upskilling platform, it's completely online. The first print ad we did was now.
Okay.
We've done a B2B ad now. That was the first print ad that we've done, but we play only digital. When it comes into Edureka Learning Center, so we have a mix of digital and TV and outdoor. We are getting into print now. We'll start next week. But for certain brands, activation is very key for us. So for Race, activation is very important. So we touch or we do activations in colleges in terms of seminars and orientation. We do about 4 to 5 colleges every week. We do. Even for Edureka Learning Center, we will be doing the same. So our mix is very different. For each vertical, we have a different mix. The spends are different. For Edureka, it is predominantly TV right now.
Okay.
And outdoors.
Right.
Digital is, so yeah.
So in your case, who's your consumer? How do you reach them? And what kind of media platforms that you use? We're running short of time, so I just keep the questions also pretty simple.
From our experience, we are acquiring the customers from both sides. That is the print media and the digital. It's a complementary. If you are going for a only print media, the result not up to that much. But you can go for the print media and the digital, your result will be better. That is from, we are learning from our experience. And in the, one example is FM radio. We are tested in Kerala. We are giving only the FM radio in 1 month. But the result was very poor. But the next month, we started print and FM radio. The result was very big thing. After the month, we are stopped the FM, only go for the print media. But the result is, when we give the both, that's a complementary things. So that the digital and print, if you can go for a complementary things, the result will be better, I think.
Okay.
That is from our, learning from our experience.
Okay. How much you'll be investing? What should be your media budgets tentatively?
We are going for up to 20% of the turnover
20%.
revenue per month. That we are deciding from the last month performance. Then after that, the next month, what do we want to do? Maximum 20% of the revenue.
That's fantastic because the rolling budget always gives you a lot of flexibility, right? So I think I just need about, rolling budget really gives a lot of flexibility, right? And coming to Sadique, so how is your spends? What kind of platforms? How do you engage with your consumers?
I'll keep it very short, like how our marketing spend is. We don't have a media spend or an ad spend or a print media spend at all. Where we invest is on the online platforms like Swiggy and Zomato, where you invest on a customer, how to invest and acquire a customer basically in forms of offers, in forms of discounts, in forms of activating a new or a dormant customer. So most of the spend goes in there, and it is very, very minimal at this point. It again, like Sir said, it depends on our previous month's sale, how much we acquired from Swiggy and Zomato, and we reinvest that. That's the only spend we do. If you really look at social media ad purchase and all of that, it's very, very minimal, about 30,000 a year, in that range, yeah. So that's how it is.
Okay, I think the time is almost up. One of the advantages of having a diverse panel is I don't really need to prepare anything so much about the questions what to ask. I can be as random as I was, right? But one of the disadvantages is that key takeaways I think from a diverse panel is consumers are very, very critical for them, for these two people, I mean for all of them, but consumers are very different from, this is a very impulsive category, and I think how they reach towards your consumer is very different vis-a-vis the other two. I think one is a high engagement category. I think even in the case of Pravin, building a brand with the people who are probably not parents, right? It is only the students, I think that students and then people who are about to be employed, I think that's where your focus is. I think that's a key segment that you need to focus, right? These are my two key takeaways, and we have just about 2 minutes for you to ask the questions. Anyone want to ask questions? I think Umanath.
Sadique, you have so many brands similar to this Chai Kings. After that, Chai Wala is there, Tea Tribe, so many chai-related brands we could see where the consumer could get confused. So how do you stay unique among all these chai revolutions?
Customers don't get confused at all. I think they're very, very clear about what each brand offers. In terms of competition, like I said, we have about 49 stores in Chennai, and if you add all the other brands, similar brands, I think that'll be another 50. So there are about 100 organized tea shops versus about 20,000 unorganized local roadside tea stores. That's what we are competing with. So I really don't have to stand out and be unique in terms of what I offer, but we really stand out in terms of how we offer it, right? Our packaging, our consistency in quality, our availability of the products and all that. So I think it's more about how you execute it well, and the customers really pick it up well. They don't get confused at all. Yeah.
So here is another question. So I have a couple of questions also to open for all the panelists also as well. So when we talk about the building new age brands, because my mind by default it compares with these established brands actually, because each of you having different set of size and scale of businesses actually from different sectors. So it is all about resonating brand images and resonating factors we are talking about. What are the constant activities you are doing for building brands? Because these are the touch points, and what we are talking about is more acute and static, kind of more into like how am I going to reach my customers for a short-term targets you are talking about. What are the long-term plans you are having, the kind of strategies, marketing strategies and brand strategies you build to make your brand to establish registration? I'm talking about the brand registration, because it is no more, I'm astonished to listen from afternoon session. Most of them are talking about the short term, the digital spending, because we are coming from mostly about the ATL, BTL and TTL kind of stuff we used to talk in the industry. So what kind of brand strategies you are taking forward to register your brand? Because I want to see you the future HUL or ITC kind of level of brands actually. What are the strategies you follow on this? This question for everybody.
I think we should take this offline, but Pravin, do you want to answer?
From a long-term perspective for us, when we look at how students come back to us, it's only through referrals. So we build our brands with our consumers who are my student. We ensure that we give him a good result when he finishes my course. We go all out to ensure that we give him all the support that is required to crack that exam. That's our biggest marketing tool for us, because that one difference that we make in that life will change a whole family's life, or it will replicate in other ones. So when you see education as a product, you will agree with me that you go back to that place where you've seen more results coming out. or which is giving more success stories, right? And that's exactly what we try to do. And if you look at the companies that we have acquired, the 3 companies that we acquired, all have pedigrees. And they're not new age companies, they're actually a decade old. JK Shah is about 39 years old. Those of you who are from Bombay will know what JK Shah is all about. And like I said, out of the 10 top AIRs, they have 7. So that is something that we want to achieve with all our brands. We consistently want to keep that also. Even though we acquire JK Shah or an Edureka, we will ensure that we keep that pedigree, their pedagogy going so that we get those results in. And that's the long term, right? Whether I do digital, I do print, all that is different. That's only for imagery purpose. I need to speak to my investors and show that I'm alive, I'm doing these things. But the main part is that I keep producing results with my students and make differences to their families, their job, the upskilling that he does. And that's where my investment is.
Yeah. I hope he answered his question, right? Thanks so much, Pravin. Thanks so much. It's been wonderful to have you as a panelist.